Yes, hello everyone. Welcome back to another Hearthstone deck spotlight. My name is Tommy Wave and I have a deck from a fellow Tom here. It is Tom60229's Odd Hunter, Legendary Odd Hunter. Not sure what rank they managed to achieve with this, but it's a very good deck. We've played Odd Hunter before, we're quite experienced with the archetype, and I think what Tom has done here is actually change the archetype a little bit. Typically when we look at Odd Hunter, we often see curves that, you know, are similar to this, you know, 16-ish 1-drops, 10 to 12-ish 3-drops, and usually just the singleton 5 and 9-drop in the deck, which is Leroy and Baku. In case you haven't seen Odd Hunter before, it means we're going to be playing Baku the Moon Eater. All of our cards in our deck are odd, which means it upgrades our hero power. The upgraded Hunter hero power, 2 mana, deals 3 damage, which is quite good if all you want to do is go face, 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 which is what the deck is designed to do. Obviously with that thick, the thickest 1-drop curve I've ever seen in Odd Hunter. We've got a lot of great selections here, the who's who of 1-drops. We've got Diamols in here, we've got Fireflies, Glacial Shards, Acheris Veterans, a Singleton Argent Squire. We've also got some less common 1-drop minions in here, in Emerald Reaver. And we've also got a couple of other interesting ones. Hunter's Mark, we've kind of seen before that Hunter's Mark is the best removal spell that we can play. Obviously, we have a lot of spare 1-drops around to trade into things like a Mountain Giant or something like that. We've also got the one-of Candle Shot in here to pair with the Hunter's Marks. It'll be interesting to see if we need the second one, so that's something that we've got to keep an eye on if we do want the second Candle Shot. We've also got trackings in here. I'm not sure if we've played trackings in Odd Hunter before, but something to keep in mind is if we are tracking to try and find certain things, you know, like kill commands, reach, these types of things, that we could actually just be playing, you know, more reach. Cards like Wolf Rider, other charge minions and things like that. So we want to take note with tracking if, you know, we are just using tracking to always find these kind of reachy cards, or if we actually do use it to find, you know, Ironbeak Owl, some tech cards in some situations. We want that tracking to have a little bit of flexibility, because otherwise we're just kind of paying 1 more mana to, like, play some reach or something like that. So something to keep in mind, something to keep an eye out for. Moving on to the 3-drop slot, we've got Animal Companion, Eagle Hornbow, Kill Command. These are all fairly ubiquitous within this type of hunter deck. We've got 2 Ironbeak Owls, which I can definitely get behind. There are a lot of big Tauntos running around, big bodies, even these things like Twilight Drake, stuff like that. So Ironbeak Owl is really going to help us push through a bit more minion damage against an opponent who's relying on those taunts to keep them protected. We've also got Unleash the Hounds in here, and I'm a bit dubious on the Unleash the Hounds. I usually like it, especially if we've got you know, Scavenging Hyenas in the deck, if we have the ability to potentially buff these up or get some advantage off of them dying. But it could be okay, especially against like an odd paladin or something like that. It gives us a bit of an out to them having better board presence than us. So I think Unleash could be good here, but like I said, we want to keep an eye if this card is better than, say, like a Wolf Rider or something like that. If we tend to get to a situation where we're relying on the Hounds to finish our opponent off, how much damage are they doing? That kind of stuff. Leroy in here and the Baku. The only other thing that I want to say is, in terms of the 1-drop slots, so you might hear me talk about proactive 1-drops and reactive 1-drops, or just general 1-drops. Proactive 1-drops are mostly the 1-drops that we're happy to play onto an empty board on turn 1. So things like Firefly, things like Diamol and Argent Squire, these are great proactive 1-drops, because if you're on the coin and you play a Firefly, there's not a lot your opponent can do to really punish you for playing that. Whereas something like an Emerald Reaver, if your opponent's a mage or any hero that has a 1 damage hero power, if you play this on turn 1 whilst you're going second, they can just use their hero power to answer it, making it not a great proactive 1-drop because your opponent can answer it easily. And we always want to have that board presence, especially with cards like Acheris Veteran in the deck. We want to make sure that we have things to buff. Things on board, always attacking in, and with this deck we only have the 2 Fireflies, 2 Diamols, 1 Argent Squire as proactive 1-drops. We do have the Candle Shot, which kind of can substitute in there, and Glacial Shard, especially with not a lot of mage in the meta. Glacial Shard can be quite good against rogues, against druids, these kind of things. So they They could work as a proactive 1-drop, but we just want to always keep in mind the kind of ratio of proactive to non-proactive 1-drops in the deck. And I think Tom's probably got it right here. I think especially with the Candle Shot and with the Glacial Shards, it would probably be right. But it may be the situation where we want to cut an Emerald Reaver for an Argent Squire or something along those lines. Anyway, that's enough talk about Odd Hunter. We don't need to know the details. It's all about going face, right? This is Hearthstone at its best. So let's jump into some games and let's shoot some people for 3.
Might of the elves.
Okay, up against the Warlock here. So we do have a Firefly, which we're very happy to keep. The main thing is, are we up against Even Warlock or are we up against Zoo? I think Eaglehorn Bow is a fine keep either way. Arcane Shot's going to be good if our opponent has the Firefly, the Flame Imp, but actually not very good against the other 1-drops. We'll send it back. Emerald Reaver.
None will survive.
Alright, what is it? Zoo. Okay. Do we open with Firefly or do we open with Reaver? Firefly is good against the Librarian, the Voidwalker.
Oh, now. What to do?
Let's go with Reaver. Now, unfortunately, this might set our opponent up for Voodoo Doctor, Happy Ghoul, at which point we'll immediately concede, but I don't with nothing. Control Lock? Could be Control.
You're so sweet.
Definitely Control. Munch!
Death comes.
Yeah, we talk about Control and we talk about aggro, we talk about mid-range quite a lot. Oh my gosh. Yuck. And I think a lot of people kind of give aggressive decks a bit of a hard time as like easy to play decks and, you know, as kind of no-brainer decks. And one of the things I always say is that... What are we coining out here? Librarian. Possibly setting up a big taunt boy for next turn.
Nice to meet you.
One of the things I always say is that when it comes to control versus aggro, it's a lot about the decisions. So if you're playing an aggressive deck, it typically means that the games are going to be shorter. You have a shorter window to win the game. So, interesting. I think we want the extra face damage. For sure. Then kind of turn 8 we can Iron Beak our kill command.
What to do?
So, aggro decks, you have a shorter amount of time in the game. So, the decisions that you make, you'll inherently have less decisions to make, which makes each decision a lot more important. Whereas a control deck, you have so many decisions along the way over the course of the entire game that each individual, while some individual decisions may have a very high impact on the game, on average, your decisions mean less. Here's a spell stone. So we typically see for a lot of aggressive decks, mulligan is super important. You know, the wrong mulligan can completely derail your entire strategy. And you need to know when to aggressively mulligan. So, looks like we've got our opponent here. Yeah, I think they know we're sandbagging it. So we always have the kill command. So yeah, you in an aggressive deck you have less decisions, but each decision means a lot more. That if you only have to make 3 or 4 actual decisions in the game, but you mess one of them up, that's like 25% of your decisions. That's a massive thing. So each one has such a massive bearing on the game. Whereas for a control deck, if you have to make 20, 30 decisions along the line, which card do I play? You know, do I draw here? Do I not play anything here? When do I hero power? That kind of stuff. Each one individually kind of means less, and you're unlikely to lose games based off of like every decision. No individual one is always going to lose you the game, if that makes sense. Some will towards the end of the game, possibly in the mid game, but not all of them have such a massive bearing on the game. Anyway, let's try and get another one. Another win!
Before the might of the elves.
Alright, here we are, trembling before the might of the elves. At least we hope our opponent is. Full mulligan here, obviously 1-drops are extremely important in this deck. Extremely important. I think we will go for the turn 1 Emerald Reaver here, rather than the turn 1 tracking. Because I think if we can get our opponent to coin hero power, we're in a really good position. Just passing the turn, hey? I think we'll go with the tracking and the arcs here. Ooh, this is hard. I think we want the Ironbeak Owl.
The light protects him.
I think it was between the Ironbeak Owl and the Hunter's Mark. If our opponent's on some kind of strategy that's going to bring out like an Ironwood Golem, especially with the Argent Squire in play, we would really like to have that Hunter's Mark, but our opponent's not really pressing their foot down. We could be facing a swipe next turn, but I don't think we can. I don't think playing around it is going to win us the game. I think it's more likely to lose us the game that we, you know, don't get enough damage in initially before our opponent stabilizes. What we are really scared of is branching paths for 12 armor. Not on this turn, but maybe in the next couple of turns once they potentially stabilize.
I wonder.
Coin Nourish? Coin Nourish hero power, no attack. Okay. Second Ironbeak Owl. We're definitely in hero power. Question is, are we playing this Arcane Shot? It's something worth considering because we are pretty constrained on mana right now. Very constrained on mana. And next turn we might want to Ironbeak Owl and hero power.
What to do?
And then the turn after, Ironbeak Owl kill command. So yeah, we'll Arcane Shot. I'm concerned with this because it might tip our opponent off as to kind of how much reach we have. Like they might immediately snap off the branching paths here. Taking out the beast? No! Don't kill that one. Kill the beast. Well, there's a lesson for everyone. Make sure, if you're up against a hunter, and you can kill the only beast that they have in play, I'd suggest it. GG's to our opponent there. I mean, that's the power of Odd Hunter. This is the deck to go under other decks. You know, Zoo Warlock can sometimes get caught up in those mid-game situations, especially with other mid-range decks. This one, all about going under, all about speed, all about those efficient one-drop threats and having that reach to back it up. So, see if we can get another one.
Versus Gul'dan.
Okay, another Warlock here.
Tremble before the might of the elves.
I think I'll keep this Candle Shot. I think especially if this is, especially if it's Even Lock. Obviously, Candle Shot's one of our better cards when paired with Hunter's Mark. But also against Zoo, this can start, you know, we can trade into some of the X ones, we can start doing some damage. Also that, you know, like I said in the introduction, this is kind of a proactive one drop. You know, it is a thing to do. It's not the greatest thing to do. Run it with no place, could be Control, could be Zoo. They got Coin Voodoo Doctor, Happy Girl, Light Water. I see.
Speak your peace.
Definitely can't let that that Light Warden stick around. It's possible maybe we should have Arcane Shot at the Flame Imp.
Someone called.
Nah, they had the. Interesting, our opponent going for the face there.
Death.
What a bother.
Possibly should have traded into the Flame Imp here, as now it lets our opponent kind of trade for the Diamond, but then we get to kill the Flame Imp back. Tapping, what?
Why do you call?
Tap's gotta be good for us. Alright, well, we've used a lot of resources, but our opponent tapped, so don't have a lot of tempo here. Hopefully they don't have the chain gang. Can't very much wrecks us.
Death.
Choosing to use the kill command on the face there, because it looks like we are going to get to the situation where we're just hoping our opponent doesn't,
Mushroom power.
like we're racing. Ooh. Leroy Unleash is a bit of a combo, but means we're not hero power in this turn.
Who to shoot?
I think we have to do it to not die. Because they're hitting us for 9 back and playing something, so they will have lethal in play, so we've got a Leroy control. So interestingly, if we had chosen to kill command the chain gang, the Leroy actually would have been worth more damage.
Unleash me.
And the chain gang also the chain gang not being in play means they can't get a good Fungal Mancer. 5, 6, 7, 11. So we're dead to a Soulfire, right? 2, 5, 6, 7, 11. So we just have to unleash and hope that our opponent has no form of direct damage in hand. Two, 5, 6, 7, 11, yeah. Put our opponent on 3. If they got the Soulfire, they kill us. Doomguard, Leroy. A lot of things that kill us here. That's kind of what we were talking about in that first game. You know, we didn't have too many decisions, but one of those big ones was trading with the Flame Imp. One of the big ones was, do we kill command this? Yeah, like this. They had the Soulfire in hand anyway. GG's to our but yeah, you know, we only had maybe 2 or 3 real decisions in that game, and I think we genuinely got two of them wrong. So, you know, that probably cost us the game. But who knows? Our opponent seems, you know, they had double Dreadlord and the Doomguard, so maybe they would have taken it from us anyway. Let's take a look at Tom60229's Odd Hunter. Honestly, Odd Hunter is one of my favorite decks. I think if you love playing aggro or tempo decks in other games, particularly Magic, if you're a big fan of Delver of Secrets, Odd Hunter I think is the deck for you. Like I said, it is the deck that goes under other decks. It's a nightmare for control decks because it's just so quick and has so much reach. You know, they can control you out of the game, kill everything, and you've just still got that 3/3/3/3 hero power to finish them off. So, you know, what did we think of some of the cards we were unsure of? You know what, the Candle Shot one is probably right at the moment, especially with the Eaglehorn bows. I think if we were to go to a second Candle Shot, I think we'd want to try and fit some South Sea deckhands in the deck, which also gives us quite a lot of, a little bit of extra reach. Not quite a lot of, but a little bit of extra reach. Unleash the Hounds, I don't think I'm convinced. I'm also not convinced on tracking. I think I'd love to see just a little bit of extra gas in here, whether that's, you know, getting in like a one-off Deadly Shot, or more likely, I think getting in like a Wolf Rider, possibly some kind of like Taunt or something like that. Maybe Vicious Fledgling is another fantastic aggressive card, though can we defend it is the real question. But that could be another option. Regardless, if you are watching this video on YouTube, all the links are down in the description, including a link over to that Hearthstone deck article. Jump over there. Leave Tom60229 a lovely, thoughtful comment, as I know you will. Give the deck a +1, give it a thumbs up. If you're looking for my details as well, they're also down there. You can jump over to Twitter at Tommy_wave. Leave a lovely, thoughtful comment on my Twitter. Leave a compliment. That'll make me feel good, wouldn't it? But until next time, please stay safe, stay wavy, and just shoot him for 3. Bang, bang, bang. Bye. I hope you enjoyed that video. Check out other ones over here, or come subscribe to the Wave Pool for more excellent times.